How to knit with Rico Loopy yarn. This video will show you how to knit a scarf with Rico Designs Loopy yarn. There are instructions on the inside of the ball band, but they aren't particularly easy to read, hence this video. The first thing to note with Loopy is that there is a top and a bottom edge to the yarn. You should notice how the bottom edge is thicker and tighter than the top. I hope that you can see that there. The next thing to look at is how the yarn is constructed. If you look at the holes or the loops along the top edge, you'll see that you have a thin strand followed by a thicker double strand, then another thin strand and a thick double strand. The way I like to knit this yarn is by working into the loops that have the double strand at the top. So we'd be working into this one and into this one. So with a pair of 7 or 8mm needles and the yarn the correct way up, we will cast on by simply putting the needle into one of the loops from the front to the back, picking up the yarn to create the stitch. Rico suggests picking up 7 stitches for a scarf that is 20 centimeters wide. However, I prefer to pick up just 4 stitches and make a narrower scarf, which is what I'll be doing here. So I've put my needle into this loop with the double strand at the top. I skip the next loop with the single strand and I pick up the next stitch into this loop here. I skip the next one and pick up into that loop. Skip that one and pick up there. Now we're ready to begin. Insert the needle into the first stitch. Now rather than wrapping the yarn around the needle as you would do when knitting normally, we're going to look for the first loop that has a double-stranded top, that thick top there. And we're going to put the point of the right hand needle through that loop. We're going to pull it through and slide it off, finishing the stitch as you would do when knitting normally. The next stitch is done in just the same way. So we insert the needle, we skip this loop that's just got the single strand, and we're going to use this loop here with the thick top, put the point of the needle through the hole and pull the stitch through. So we skip this loop and we're going to knit into this loop. And we knit every stitch on every row in just the same way. So we skip this one and we knit into this one. And it doesn't get any more complicated than that. When you've reached the length you require, you cast off in the normal way by knitting 2 stitches and passing the first stitch over the second. So we knit into that loop, we knit the second stitch, and pass that stitch over the first one there. We knit the next stitch and pass it over. And then the final one. It's worth remembering that these scarves do tend to lengthen when you start to wear it, so you may like to knit it a bit shorter than you think you need. To finish off, we'll just pass the yarn through the hole, the loop there, I would trim it up and then simply stitch the ends in somewhere along the cast off edge there. And I'd do the same with the cast on end. Just stitch the tail into the scarf so that it's hidden. And there you have your loopy scarf.